Greetings and welcome to the latest edition of the Big D podcast. On the line with me today is Challenger Baseball President Rocky Barron. Rocky, I never thought the 2020 season would end, but thank goodness it did.
Yeah, our 2020 season, we got started playing some challenger games, and then we got about halfway through maybe, and missed that terrible COVID that nobody wants to talk about that started, and so we had to shut it down.
Did you ever consider restarting at some point, or were you basically forced to stop?
Well, we kind of made the decision that it was in best interest, but they had a lot of Lee County where we played. Some of the fields were closed too, so it made it pretty much impossible to do at that juncture. There was a lot of unknowns back then, and we're still working through issues and trying to answer questions on that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that COVID hit right in the middle of spring training, because I can remember the day when it hit, because there were 10,000 people when the Cardinals and Red Sox were packed in the JetBlue, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it seemed like the world stopped.
Yeah, it's we didn't. You kind of get used to watching all your sporting events, and then all of a sudden it was like nothing going on. That was one of the difficult things to deal with.
Yeah, so before we talk about the 21 Challengers and Major League season, let's talk about your time with Challenger. What year was it that you started working for Challenger? Was it 03 or 04? I'm trying to remember what year it was.
Well, you got a pretty good memory. It was 2003, and that's about when I started with the Challenger program. Came out to the old Hammond Stadium, we'll call it, and that's where the registration was taking place, and I just fell in love with all you guys, including the guy I'm talking to. So it was 2003 I started coaching, and then by the end of 2003, 2004, then I took over the program. Kathy had asked me to take it over.
And how many players did you have in 03 or 04?
Well, as I recall, Dylan, we had 4 teams back then, and there was probably maybe about 10 to 12 players on a team. So roughly 45 maybe or so, somewhere in that range.
And so, what was your ultimate goal with developing and increasing the ability of kids to participate in Challenger?
Wow. I wasn't sure exactly where we were going to go with that. I guess my goal was to get it to about 8 teams because I felt like if we had 8 teams and we were playing games with everybody the same day, we would need 4 diamonds, and having a place with 4 diamonds is mandatory, to have 4 games at the same time. So I guess I was looking at maybe bringing it up to 8 teams at that time, and I thought that was manageable. I thought that was a good number, and that would also allow us to all play at the same time.
Yeah, and having 4 games, and with having eight teams. How many venues could realistically host four games at once in Lee County? Because, as you know, it's not always easy to find a baseball venue, whether it's one of these recreational parks in St. Carlos, the Cape, Lehigh, Bonita, that can host four games at once.
Yeah, that's true. As you probably know, we're a division. Challenger Baseball is a division of Little League, and we have a good relationship with the Little League programs that were participating. So they pretty much had control of the diamonds, those fields, and we were able to reach out to them and find we find at least three um, places that we could count on every Saturday to play.
And as you know, when Little League Baseball starts, it's even trickier because the Little League fields always get first access to the diamonds and figuring out like how the Little Leaguers can play, but yet can the Challenger kids play?
Yeah, and I will say, the Little League International is they bend over to do what they can for the Challenger baseball program, and they make it pretty much a priority that we are allowed time on those fields. If we have the players, and so they acquiesce to us. The Little League presidents in Division 18 have been very good to work with throughout the years. They've always been able to provide us with a field to play.
Yeah, could you tell us a little more about Challenger? Because obviously we know it's a little different than Little League, but could you tell us what Challenger baseball is?
Sure. Yeah, Challenger Baseball is a baseball league that was devised for special needs kids that may not qualify to play in regular Little League. They may have some cognitive disability, they may have a physical disability, or some other malady that prevents them from playing regular ball. We have a number of kids with autism that participate. Some of them just can't really function in the regular game of baseball that we know, but they still enjoy going out there and playing every week. They're very exuberant, and we found that in some cases, the parents don't think that their child can play. They're not really sure, but they sign them up, and then they find out they can not only play, but they really enjoy the experience of going out and playing. And it's a big win-win for the kids and the parents, and it's been good. So throughout the years, Little League used to be. Little League had a program that was just for younger kids, and then once they graduated from high school, they weren't able to play anymore in the Challenger Little League program. But about I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, they changed that rule to allow for any challenged athlete to participate even after they graduate from high school. So we were able to expand the program and add they could continue playing baseball, the game they love.
And thus, you could have a division where the younger kids play, and then have one where the older kids play, and you've got kids with similar ages, different backgrounds playing together on the same field.
Exactly. Yeah, we have we have two different divisions. You know, we have a junior division for the younger kids, and then we'll have a senior division for the older kids or young adults. Yeah, so there it works. It works pretty well. We have you know, some of the skilled players that are able to play can participate. I think at age 15, they could play in the senior division, and they get a little bit more out of that sometimes playing with the older kids.
How many kids and teams are in each division?
Okay, there's we've got right now we have a total of 9 teams, and there's 5 junior teams, and there's 4 senior teams that all participate. Yeah.
And how many players are and how many players in total on these teams?
Well, last year we had registration with over 100. I think we were at 135 kids.
Oof,
That
15 a team.
Yeah, and those were, you know, we had full rosters of, you know, maybe 15 on a team. We had in many cases. Now this most recent, we just started our season. We registered in November, and the numbers are down a little bit just because of what's going on in the communities with COVID still, you know, still being out there. So it has affected the registration a little bit, and some of the parents are you know, a little uneasy, and I understand that. We don't press them to play. In fact, we encourage them not to play if they have concerns.
As you know, with COVID impacting sports, I mean, many kids don't get the opportunity to participate in youth sports. But how many kids have signed up for the 2021 Challenger season?
Yeah, I think we're at about 100, maybe 100 kids for this season. That's
Not,
that's my
better
best
than,
estimate.
better than I thought it'd be. Better than I thought. Still a decent amount of people showing up for these games.
Yeah, and you know, the good thing about baseball, what I like, and I think what a lot of people like, is it's played outdoors. Dylan, you know, we play outdoors, and the outdoor setting is a little safer environment, you know, for people than being crammed into say a basketball court or something together.
Yeah, yeah, especially, I mean, in terms of outdoor sports, I mean, the full major ones, NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, I mean, baseball is one where you can socially distance because the base is 90 feet apart. The outfield is a space where social distance is not usually a problem, and
Yeah.
you can find ways of social distancing, whether it's in the dugout, on the bases, or anywhere.
Yeah, I think it lends itself. We're able maybe to negotiate this difficult landscape of COVID a little better than, say, you know, basketball players or football players, or, you know, some of the other sports, for sure.
Uh, when does the season start?
We started last Saturday, was our opening day. That was January the 9th at Three Oaks Community Park. You remember that place?
Yeah, I can remember hitting a few long balls out of there.
You did. You were the long ball hitter. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I was more the John Carlos standard of long ball hitters now.
that's right.
What what do the parents and kids get out of participating in Challenger?
Oh man. Well, I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to speak for them, but I think what they get is they get a much higher self-esteem for themselves, being able to do something. I think it's always a benefit to be able to be a part of a team, and be on a team. They have their own uniform. They get their own batting helmets and gloves, and all of that stuff is really beneficial, I think, for their socialization skills, help them go further as they grow and mature. And it also enables the parents to have a platform. We have a Facebook page that's devoted to the players and parents, and they are able to share ideas with each other. Because it is difficult being a parent to a special needs child. So they need some support there. Our mission is to make it a fun season for everybody. Have a safe environment, and have some great coaches that help out.
What have been your favorite success stories with Challenger? Someone who's overcome enormous odds to succeed with Challenger.
Who? Well, I mean, I guess I'm looking at one of them. I think Dylan, you started out playing, and you matured. I've seen you mature, and look what you've been able to accomplish. You graduated college, and you're doing great. And I've seen some other instances where we have young adults in the program that maybe they participated when they were younger, and now they actually have a good paying job where their employer is very happy with them, and they're succeeding in life. So I see that every year. Some of them continue, if they're able to work and still play baseball. That's great. They ask for Saturdays off if they can, but sometimes they can't, and so they're not able to play. But they do have a gainful employment, and they're growing like it, and maturing still.
Yeah, are you guys still involved with the Roy Hobbs World Series? Because when I played, it seemed like the Roy Hobbs guys were always at all game at Hammond.
Yeah, the Roy Hobbs guys are great. They still, Tom Giffen and his group, Roy Hobbs Baseball, are still a great, underwriter for Challenger Baseball. Good support organization, and they've helped us, throughout, for many years now.
Yeah, I can remember all those Roy Hobbs guys staying for all game because a bunch of them and I knew each other, so we would.
Yeah, you had a special relationship with those guys yourself.
Still do to this day.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, those are experiences, that you don't forget. And baseball brings a lot of people together. The common element. It doesn't matter, whether you're special needs or whether you're a superstar athlete. You can still love the game of baseball, and I think that it gets in your blood when you start playing. I started from a very young age playing, and I fell in love with it for sure.
Yeah, be honest, not this past year, but in 2019, there were three Aussies who were on our team, and be honest, it was having those Aussies play with us was quite possibly the most enjoyable experience I've seen with Roy Hobbs.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I
So
agree.
now we get to Rocky's second. Well, I don't know if it's 1A, or second pick. It's passion. It's beloved Chicago Cubs.
Oh
Last
yeah,
year was interesting. David Ross managing Chicago, winning its division, but then succumbing to the Miami Marlins in the playoffs. But the Cubs are different now. Theo Epstein's gone. I think Major League Baseball just hired him.
yeah. It's definitely, this is a transition year for the Chicago Cubs, and I know where your allegiance still lies. So you're not going to ask me any tough questions about the St. Louis Cardinals and
No,
how they're going to overtake the Cubs this year, are you?
I don't even know who'll be on the roster open day. I mean,
Yeah,
seems this free agent market seems too quiet for middle of January, but part of it is because teams don't know what kind of revenue they've got because of the 60 game season without fans.
that's
So
right. Yeah, they're facing, a lot of the same things. How do they keep things going um, under the circumstances? But yeah, the Cubs, they had a great run. I think obviously the 2016 season was pretty special. I'm just happy that I was alive to see that. Um, you know, I think when the game finished, I was one of those people running around in our neighborhood on the streets with my Chicago Cubs flag. I was waving it, and I don't know. I actually heard it was like 1:30 in the morning, I think, when that game finished, and I could hear fireworks going off and in the area. So there were some other Cub fans that were pretty happy about it too.
I don't remember exactly what time Game 7 of that 2016 World Series ended, but it didn't matter what time it was in Cleveland or Wrigleyville for that matter.
And it was one of those games that it was unbelievable story as the way it unfolded. So now we go forward, and let's do it again. That's what all the Cub fans want to they're waiting for another run. But it's with Theo. Theo did a great job with the Cubs, I think. He obviously was one of the orchestrators to put that, help put that team together, get the right mix, get the right manager for the moment. And now, things change over time, and they're going to have to figure it out again.
Yeah, and as you know, with championship runs, the question is how long can you keep it open? And obviously, this Cubs team's going to be different. I mean, Schwarber's already gone. Lester's probably gone. I mean, Rizzo and Brian aren't exactly getting any younger. I mean, Brian could walk after this season if he's not traded. And then, of course, the Cubs traded Yu Darvish in that big blockbuster to San Diego.
Yeah, and I loved the way Darvish pitched last year, but at his age, maybe this was we'll look back on this and say, the guys that they got in for you, Darvish, maybe we'll look back and say this was a good trade, because they I think they traded him at the maybe the height of his accomplishments. We'll see what happens from here, but
Yeah, I mean, Dolovich finished what second in the NL Cy Young, the Trevor Bauer, and I mean, he was stupendous last year.
yeah,
But with his contract and Chicago looking to cut payroll, maybe Jed Hoyer decided Udovic was expendable, and
yeah,
it's not like I mean, yeah, Dolvich was great second half of 19 and all of 20, but you wonder how he'll fare in a 162 game season. I mean, the Padres are going to be a very interesting team next year with all the kids they got last year. Then they added Snell and Udovic. Woof.
yeah. Like and you know, talking about the National League West. I would like to see the San Diego Padres overtake the Dodgers. I'm ready to get rid. Let's move the Dodgers. Excuse me. Choking me up now talking about the Dodgers. Um, I'd like to see the Dodgers. They now that they've won it, maybe that team will self-destruct too. We'll see.
Yeah, have the Friars in the World Series. Have the Friars in the World Series would be interesting. See Fernando Tatis, one of baseball's promising young studs, and on the October landscape would be fun. Of course, Manny Machado. You've got Eric Hosmer, Will Myers. I mean, San Diego's locked and loaded and ready for a deep playoff run
Yeah,
for
they're. Yeah,
2020.
I would say they're going to challenge the Dodgers for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder what's going to happen to the free agency market too, because the Yankees just re-signed DJ LeMahieu, former Cub.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of these Cubs, they seem to excel as soon as we trade them. You know, you're not going to mention Lou Brock or anything, are you?
No, I'm not going to mention Lou Brock, although Jake Arrieta starred in Chicago for a few years.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Lou Brock was well before your time, but that I have to say, Lou. I know Lou Brock passed this last year. Lou Brock was a great guy. I mean, even though he was a St. Louis Cardinal, I respected him greatly. I listened to him speak in Springfield, Illinois. He used to come there and I think it was the Christian Athletes Association. He would come and talk, and just a great gentleman, a great ambassador for baseball.
Yeah, there were several great baseball legends we lost, whether at the end of 2020 or the beginning of this year. I mean, Whitey Ford, Bob Gibson, Al Kaline, of course now Tommy Lasorda recently passed away.
Right.
Tom Seaver.
Yeah. They have some great ball players and managers there. Um, hey, time marches on, and you know your career. Your career is actually pretty short. So um, some of those guys has some longevity in their careers, and you'll see how these young studs can do.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the 21 baseball season to begin whenever it does. So thanks for hopping on the podcast, Rocky, and we wish Challenger Baseball well and completing its season, and hopefully you do it safely and successfully.
Yeah, well, Dylan, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you again, and it's always great to see you. You're doing great work. You continue doing what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.